Hello, this is Rabbi Moshe Gancz. I am speaking from Israel, and I want to share some thoughts on Parashat Nisavim based on a question that I received a little time ago. The question was the following: Rabbi, if what is the mitzvah that you think everybody, regardless of religious observance, regardless of the amount of study that a person has, what is the one mitzvah that you think everybody should strive to improve? And my answer is the following. We have here in Parashat Nisavim, chapter 30, on verses 15 and 16. I'll read already translating. So, see, I have set before you this day life and good and death and evil, that I am commanding you today to love God, your God, to walk on his ways, and to keep his mitzvot and his decrees and his laws. So this idea that, so you must love God. But what is to love God? Then we go to the Mishneh Torah of the Rambam on Sefer Ahava and on Ilhot Kriyat Shema, the laws of Kriyat Shema. And there, the Rambam says, he's explaining why do we read Parashat Shema before the others. The Shema is divided in three portions. So why do we read the Shema portion first? And he says, מפני שיש בה ציווי על ייחוד השם והבתו ותלמודו, שהוא העיקר הגדול שהכל תלוי בו. Because there is the commandment of the unity of God and the love of God and the study, not study Torah, but the study of God. And this is the greatest principle that everything is dependent on it. So Talmudo here is not study of the Torah, as some commenters have tried to explain, but actually the study and comprehension of God. And the Rambam, he will put an enormous emphasis on this in his Guide of the Perplexed. And there, he will say, however, that there are some introductory matters that people should know in order to really delve into this, to really try to study to understand God. Because when you understand God, you are also able to love him. But if you don't even have the basic grasp, according to your possibility, but at least the very, very basic grasp of what is the unity of God, what is God, so you cannot love him properly. So in order to love God, the Rambam will say on the introduction of book 2 of the guide, he will say, as you understand reality better, as you understand the natural sciences better, you will be able to understand how God acts in this world, and then you will be able to love him more. However, there are some introductory sciences that he says, well, people cannot properly delve into this matter without knowing the basis of these sciences. There are foundations which one must have. It's in chapter 34. So the Rambam says, you must know Al-Mantiq. Al-Mantiq is logic, but logic in a broad sense, which encompasses the poetics of Aristotle, actually, rhetoric, dialectics, logic itself, with all its possibilities and all its subdivisions, and also grammar and interpretation of text. So these are foundations. And then after that, you go to mathematics, and then you go to natural sciences, and then you go to metaphysics. And so you have the proper foundation to actually delve into this in depth. However, as if you don't have this knowledge, you should strive to gather at least something. But regardless, according to Maimonides, we cannot just believe on things. We must know. The 13 principles of Maimonides, he never says believe, he says itikad. Itikad is to know. So, and he says also on the guide, chapter 50, he says, you must have tasawwur in your soul. Tasawwur is the way to translate to something that is written. So any idea that you have, you must actually have it in yourself as you express the words of this idea. If not, you are not actually knowing, you are just repeating something that you read, that you heard, but that is not enough. And even more so, Rambam says, if someone says, yeah, God is one, but if he is expressing, for example, attributes in God, he says, yeah, God is one, but God is actually very strong, infinitely strong. According to Maimonides, that's like Avodah Zarah. So that's a very serious issue. And that's an issue that everybody should try to understand, should try to know how it works. And that is equally right for those who have years of study, those who don't. So that was my answer. If you have to choose only one mitzvah to improve, you should pick this mitzvah, because as the Rambam says, that's the greatest principle, that everything is dependent on it. And the reason is that if you don't actually know to who you are praying, you may, at the end of the day, not even pray to God. You may pray to something else and believe that this something else is God. Rambam says this in the guides, check chapter 59. So that's my message for you. I wish you Shabbat Shalom, and until next time. Thank you very much.